Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, everybody. Welcome back. Stock market's below the 50 SMA today. Pretty much just means if we don't recover it, we're not going to expect, too much of a bullish transition of market structure. So for the time being, we're kind of still in that somewhat of a negative pressure market. So, yeah, we'll go over it all today as we normally do, but for the moment, as relates to the SMA markets, we are downsided. So if that changes, then, maybe we'll change kind of that bias, but for the time being, the market is in fact downsided. So, yeah. Right on. So yeah, we got our 50 SMA over under about 684.53, 685.13. Pretty much that becomes a back test target if we go to if we do the counter long today, then 50 SMAs become a target. So it's always the name of the game whether you're going to back test or not. So yesterday we ended up breaking down. Let me just double check a couple other things. But yeah, so yesterday we ended up breaking down the 50 SMA. So the market is in fact downsided. It's just a matter of if we're going to continue rolling down in the immediate or if we're going to back test 50 SMAs today. We're going to be opening up arguably. Well, we'll see. I have no idea exactly where we're going to be opening up. But right now, market is also, again, still bearish, still working itself down. In the meantime, we could arguably be seeing like NQ down to 24,854. Arguably ES down to 685,363s, etc. But yeah, just a kind of a downsided market here today. The volatility index is still positive on trend, so there's nothing on the volatility index that signals to us that we should be going too long bias the market for the moment. So that's that. NQ just traded down close to 24,854.99. If we basically just drop out of the gates right away on the market today, instead of, retracing, I guess, if you will, then we'd essentially be targeting down to like $682.44 on the SPY. But again, in the event we do not essentially just slide out today from the open and we do some decent counter trend longs and bounce back up, we're not going to look higher than the 50 SMA over under price that you see on the screen there. That's going to be kind of bounce back test targets. I don't know if I'm missing something here. Let me just double check a couple things. Wait, that would happen in the pre-market. So the live hours, I see just even happened there? Yeah, so hopefully that all makes sense. I know I'm just pretty much saying a bunch of randomness, but again, it makes sense to me. So hopefully it makes sense to you. But yeah, I'm going to toss a fib from yesterday onto here. Is that right? Am I missing something there? Huh. Interesting. What's a 30? That is so goofy looking. Oh, that makes more sense. Yeah, I was like, that can't be right. Alright, so again, this is really just the SPY working itself down here for the moment, about 682.50s. 682.50s, 44s. I might have it slightly off. Oh, I can see why it'd be like that. Yeah, it's always interesting trading view and thinkorswim. They're always like slightly different. Oh, so for the moment, I would say kind of that short-term down move on the market is, if you're talking micro stuff, I mean, the short-term down move for the market's kind of, I would say, slowing down. If I were to, kind of bring up this 5 minute here, maybe that's, just in general, right? So from basically here to there, that's, and then once maybe we're below here, you open the next door down just based off fib stuff. We've already done our top-down 30-minute volume-weighted average price stuff today for the market. It's just going to be whether or not we want to continue sliding out or we're going to go back for golden pocket 50 SMA stuff today. So, again, I'm relatively indifferent. I'm definitely more sell side bearish leaning just because the market's below the 50 SMA, so that's kind of the way that goes. If we have to go long and take the market back up, for now it's just to be viewed as a counter trend, like a bearish long, right? So it's a bearish long until proven otherwise. So anything long bias right now below 50 is just bearish long trading. Until proven otherwise, right? So that's how we're going to go with today for the moment. As far as the volatility index goes, yeah, there's nothing really. Hold on, let me double check. Yeah, maybe back there it's possible. Huh. The VIX does have gaps up in $22.70 area. There might even be one all the way back in the 23s. You just expect the market's going to roll down here on the SPY to 682.43. I'm just looking back at the volatility index right now, trying to see if there is. Hold on, what date was that? I don't know. I'm not sure. Oh, that's where it is. Alright, there is a no gap up in the 23s there. But yeah, the VIX does have some gap stuff up to about 2270s or so. So obviously, if the sell signal and kind of the selling operation that we're currently in, has some follow through, then we could obviously use the VIX 2270 gap as kind of like a VIX magnet. Those are thoughts. Again, it's all just dependent on whether the markets stay positive or negative. So, like we said, for the time being, they're negative. To really be more bearish in the immediate, we pretty much would like to see market kind of below that down. And then obviously to stay long, not breaking that down, and then, or to stay long, to see long, not breaking that down. And then, so that's kind of how I would kind of read today's market, at least for the moment, based off some fib stuff. And I mean, I can throw VWAPs on there too, but just not in the moment. I don't like it. But yeah, so that's that. Wonder if we're going to be opening with a gap. Where is close? Close is here, so that's going to be a gap up. So if we go gap and go 161, that would probably put us back at the 50 SMA over under. Okay. And then also, what? Is that right? See, this is why I get confused. It's not confused, but it's just like, it is somewhat confusing, actually. I mean, it's like, why is it like that? You see where like the 50 SMAs here at the pre-market on TradingView, it's all the way up at like 684.72. But if you look at a chart of the SPY right now, and you bring up the pre-market, it says the price of the 50 SMA is at like 650. Look, it doesn't even, I have no idea why and how this happens, or why, like this is it, like same thing, 30-minute pre-market, SMA's right here. So I can see on Thinkorswim that we're currently riding down the SMA right now. So it's like we're kind of staying below the 30-minute pre-market, 50 SMA trend down. But if you were to look at TradingView say whether we have, it's not even close. So again, Thinkorswim we do tend to feel is more accurate in a lot of that stuff. So just an FYI. Oh, good morning, Crypto P. So yeah, anyway, so we'll do that. Yeah, it's not gonna work over there. I guess I could maybe do it like that. Again, so that's just, again, market just going down, staying down. Currently retracing that 78.6 fib. And just being below the 50 SMA on the pre-market, being below the 50 SMA on the regular trading hour. So market's just bearish for the moment. Also, I haven't had a chance to look at the news because, well, not that I haven't had a chance, I just rarely look at the news, but let's see what the internet's talking about. Or, well, more news. Let's bring this up. So, 17 hours ago, the Dow drops 800 points as AI disruption fears and tariff woes weigh on the market. Stock market today, Dow drops 800 points as the S&P 500 NASDAQ slide on Trump tariffs. So it looks like it's all Trump's fault once again. It's funny, you know, it's almost like the same person works at CNBC, CNN, the Wall Street Journal, and Yahoo Finance, because they all reported the same exact thing. The Dow drops 800 points. Almost like, I just don't know what happened to the originality in the world. So, anyways, we will not report that here at the Stock Market Network, folks. But anyways, so that's kind of what we mentioned yesterday, right? Is when you break down the 50 SMAs and the market accepts it, you get big sell moves, right? And you just know the market's going to go down, right? So as a result, you wake up, you'll see things like that. CNBC and markets are down and it's Trump's fault, or it's now because everyone is scared of AI again. Even though AI is what's supposed, remember, isn't AI what's blowing up the market? Well, at least that's what I've been told. And now it's what's killing the market. It's like the market can just never make up its mind sometimes, right? Almost like it's just constantly going up and down into buy and sell signals, and the news is just going to report on anything. So, like 15 years from now, when I'm sitting in front of this computer streaming, maybe, we'll see, I'm sure it's not, I'm sure the market will be bearish one day, and but then it's going to be AI to the second power fears, and maybe at that time it's Barron Trump's fault. Who knows? Again, markets are just sliding down because, again, markets are in neutral to bearish states. Below the 50 SMA, we're currently under, the golden pockets and whatnot of yesterday. So, unless the markets are counter-retracing the golden pockets and going for, going for the 50 SMA backtest, then you're ultimately just going to be going down. And obviously, low-a-day areas of yesterday will be, optional areas to take the markets. Unless, of course, they want to go further, and that's up to the market. We don't make that one up. But, so we're pretty much going to stay leaned bearish today. And anything long bias will be bearish bouncing, or we're going to treat it as bearish bounce or bearish long. Sorry. We're bearish longs, and we're just overall bearish right now. That's the sentiment of the market. Oh, gosh. Oh, tired. Stayed up a little late last night. Good morning, Crypto P, and good morning, Colo. How are you guys doing? Everybody, clap your hands. Clap, clap. We right now at the price of $683.38. have what I would, we'll just do that 683.38, right about there. Pretty much that level. I kind of don't like the way that's looking, but that's fine. Yeah, right at 683.50, we have the pre-market 30-minute 50 SMA. So, we wouldn't even, number one, we wouldn't even consider that the counter long to the 50 SMA over under is active until we're trading over 683.40. And we wouldn't even consider 683.40 active unless we recover the 78.6 fib. So, like we said, we're not really looking counter long in the moment. Not that it couldn't happen at some point today, but we're just not for the moment, right? So probably looking more like downsided here. Just in general, right? Unless we're recovering levels and continuing to grind higher to convince us we're going for the counter long destination, then we'll be looking down to here. Man. Excuse me. Sorry. Man, it's kind of chilly in here right now. I wonder what the temperature is outside. $16 degrees will do it. Yeah, 16 will keep the house a little chilly. And the utility bill high. It's possible in the micro you see a move back towards here and then maybe some confirmation down. That's definitely possible right now. If we're not going to continue sliding out, markets may try to counterbounce in these areas. Obviously, no promises, no guarantees, nothing like that. Just in general, might be some micro stuff we're seeing. But just in general. Let's bring back up this 30-minute. Nvidia got earnings coming tomorrow. You think we get a nice pop to save the market? Maybe. I don't really have the answer to those things. The markets do things like that where, they'll put gains on a big stock to save a market kind of, or they will put, we see things like that where markets basically use, one or two stocks of the day to kind of prop a market kind of thing. We've seen things like that, but, whether or not that's going to happen on Nvidia earnings, I have no idea. I don't really follow closely and read financial reports or, what companies are doing to get an idea whether they're going to have a profitable earnings or not. That's just not something I personally know. Wish I did. Again, markets definitely seeing some weakness there. Also, markets are about to open or close to opening, etc. Yeah, so far markets are being starting relatively weak at the open. Let me look at the market internals here. I don't want to speak too soon. And we'll give it a second. I mean, Magnificent 7 are pretty much opening flat. So if the Magnificent 7 don't hold and the gap up on the S&P issues don't hold there, then we will see the market slide down more. There go your markets down further, continuing its sell, most likely towards that low a day area, or low a day, yesterday's low a day, excuse me. Alright, as you're kind of coming down into that low a day, that's going to be a profit taking area, locking in on your short, yada yada yada, same old. If it goes below that, that'll be great. Well, I mean, maybe, just in general, but you get the point. Oh, let me pull back one of these charts. I don't have it up right now. Let's see, NVIDIA. Where is NVIDIA? Wait, what? Where'd you go? Weird. NVIDIA. Yep, NVIDIA is coming down into its 50 SMA, so I'd imagine it's going to sell down, well, as close as possible, right, to tag it, just in general. Yeah, it's not quite there, so NVIDIA might still need to sell down further to about $188.70. Alrighty. Alright, so we're going to dial into, I guess I can kind of clean up some of this stuff. Because we've kind of done the destination to the downside. We might still arguably be going down to about 680.41 there. Just depends on whether or not the market wants a true tag of the low a day from yesterday, or if it's going to shy it, whatever. You get the point. But probably going to go and get it. That's what my opinion would be. So, and we'll take a look at the 1 minute volume weighted average price from today's high and down, because obviously today slid out. So that is all untested. So we'll see. I wonder if the low of day holds, if we end up breaking it. If we break it, maybe we get a worse slide on the day for the market, because that would take that low. Let's see. We'll see. We'll see. So there's a little support hold down there at the previous low day, nothing too cray. And then again, we're still below the intraday 1 minute volume weighted average price from the open and down and so on and so forth. So, as it relates to the intraday, this is all still potentially kind of resistance down. If we were to get above, then we might consider the markets are trying to kind of at least reverse the initial selling move from the start of the day, but that's not the case right now. So we're still downsided market, still bearish. No real point of trying to catch a big bounce off the bottom, right? Because remember, the market is in a sell move. The volatility index is positive. The market is negative. We're not even above the 1 minute volume weighted average price of the selling move from the start of the day. Again, there's really not a big reason to be just screaming long in the face. Remember, anything right now are bearish longs, right? Any long move right now is a bearish long trade. Nvidia has now sold down to the 180 whatever price and now lower, so failing to hold its 30-minute trend, but really not a surprise when you see the market is selling off the way it is. Remember, when the S&P 500 is in a breakdown and in a selling operation, and the volatility index is in a buying operation, markets are more likely to go down, and as a result, we're more likely to see equities underperform. So the fact we're seeing Nvidia slide and go down, not really surprising. Amazon's down. Google started a sell move today. So that's the thing, is we're starting to see some of the large caps. So, like, for example, Nvidia has sold down to its 50 SMA. Google and Amazon are both negative now. So some things to think about, I guess. So there's our bounce back to the volume weighted average price of the initial kind of trend for the day, I guess, if you will. Or volume weighted average price trend. All right, so this is where everyone's shorting throughout the day. They're kind of all in this area. So this is kind of one of those spots where if there's no resistance to be, that's why I said earlier, it's like you're into here, potential for down, and if not, and we're getting above, that's where we might start to kind of pop off longs for the day, off this low. All right, so intraday shorts are obviously getting squeezed out a little bit there. Well, from the open, right? So beautiful move. Right back to the sub at the 8th. Oh, come on now. So I'm going to delete some of these things, just clean up the chart once again. Oh snap, oh snap. We're going to start anchoring to the low here. Whoa, I don't want to do that. Beautiful long bounce back up. Again, this is kind of one of those situations where, like I said, we might be working this market back up. And if we go for the counter retrace longs fully, we still might have targets all the way up towards like 685. Right now, the 30-minute trend on the pre-market system is still a little bearish, but again, we're kind of following these volume-weighted average prices now up from the low. Yeah, the price of 683.23 is still a 50 SMA over under for the SPY. That's on the pre-market systems. Yeah, so essentially, as long as the market, kind of two things stays above, 682.40, probably moving up, and then even pulling all the way down into here can still result in a pretty strong bounce. But yeah, next level's up on the ES would be about 6,870.03, so 6,870. Basically, next level's up on the ES. As far as levels down, it just kind of depends if we do a 1 minute volume weighted average price back test or not. And the SPY is starting to get over the price of 683.26, which is the pre-market 30-minute 50 SMA. So, just kind of depends. If we were to shift momentum up over that 30-minute, it would pretty much suggest we're trading up into the regular trading hours, which would be up back to like 685, right? So essentially, if we are transitioning the pre-market 30-minute positive, then the market's going to be looking to go up to $685 or so. Let me just double check because I kind of forget because I have so many damn lines on my chart, but 685, yes. Yeah, so arguably we may be seeing a move up towards 685 today on the market if we are sustaining the price of 683.27. And if we go to 680 or 685, that's going to be the back test. Oh, shoot. Sorry. First things first, 684.45, because that's the 1 hour. Let me just double check. But also 685. So we've back tested the 1 hour. So if there's pretty much no hesitation at the 1 hour, then we go to 685. Sorry. Just an FYI. I just had to put that out there. Because, I don't want to be like, 685, and then next thing you know, we get hit at 684.45. Someone's like, oh, you did 685. So, again, we just hit the 1 hour 50 SMA. So that's, if you see some hesitation right there, that is a 1 hour 50. So that's a relatively big level. Granted, regardless, I still think we're going up to $685 here on the SPY. So anyways, there is our counter trade back test counter destination. Sorry, that actually is kind of because I had an arrow pointing at it. That's right, from earlier. Yeah, cool. Right on. What's the volatility index doing? So the volatility index is probably, it's obviously pulling back to the 1 hour and the 30. So we won't look, we might try to do some sort of top tick short on the market, but that wouldn't be at least until the market actually gets, or say the volatility index gets to some resistance, support. So we could maybe see the volatility index sell all the way down to probably. It depends, right? Because the next level down for the VIX is $20.30. It just matters what comes first. Does the VIX sell to 2030, or does the market go up to $685.13 first, or whatever, right? So it's kind of one of those games we're playing where we're probably going to take the market up about 685. And if we are to have some resistance there, we'll see. The VIX is, like I said, the VIX has down to $20.30 to $20.14, right? So those will be the next kind of algorithms on the VIX to deal with. Could help temporarily top the market. If the SPY tries to break out the 50 SMA here at 685 off of such a big long press, it might be a little exhausted. It might be a false breakout, and then we can use the top to pull back to the 50. So it really just kind of depends on how the market sets up here around the 50 SMA. So there's the 685, 20, whatever, 685 target. Job well done, everyone. Cheers. Cool. Now it's about whether or not the market gets acceptance above. So we're in the decision game, right? So now we're back to the regular trading hours 50 SMA. We're in the decision phase now, right? Does the market want to have resistance here, or does the market want to pull back, right? Now, personally, I can't be extremely long biased at this level because it's the first tag kind of going into the 50 SMA. So generally speaking, a lot of times you're going to look for a little hesitation here on the market, so I wouldn't be extremely long biased as top with the market, just because, again, naturally, a lot of times you'll find some resistance up here at the 50 SMA. So, there's that. Which just happened, if you didn't notice, right? So that little candle right there, that candle would be tag of the 50. I don't think I don't even know why I have that there, but that's fine. We are still untested on quite a few things, so this has got the market has quite a bit of momentum back up today, so much so that we haven't even retraced the 1 minute volume weighted average price of today's low. Even the last little 1 minute break up, we still have untested. So that's kind of, it just depends. If they go for an algorithm grind, they won't back test these things very easily. But anyways, you guys know. You guys know. Wow, it's such a sad moment when you go to get a drink of coffee and it's all gone. Okay, what is going to happen? Market's definitely kind of slowing down up here a little bit, but I don't really, I mean, there's no like big bearish momentum. I mean, yeah, things might be a little overbought on the upside, but I mean, as far as I can tell, I mean, I don't have anything that says it's supposed to drop off a cliff, but you never know. Ha 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 ha. It would be cool to see the volume weighted average price of today's low point, but we'll see. I mean, yeah, it's a very explosive move up, pretty much straight up, right? So if we don't just keep running, right? Now we got to back test something. So the next kind of shelf level, we're right here at this fib. So if we can take that out, then arguably we'd be looking down to like there. So that's kind of the question there. Oh, what am I doing? Take that up there like that. So yeah, anyways, same old, same old. That's what I was saying, maybe not to be too long bias up here. Might even look for kind of first tag 50 SMA, shorts, sells. Now we've retraced down to the volume weighted average price of everyone, not everyone, but just in general. Important trend of the intraday that's been going long up. We're basically down into it, so arguably this is where the market would it's not where the market has to do anything. It's just that's just an intraday volume trend, I guess. So if we don't hold support here, that's where the market could get a little rocky, and so I always just kind of try to be simple with it. It's either going to be a support or it's like that might dictate if we're going to wash a lot of people that have been trading long. So do be mindful if there's some counter pops on the 1 minute back up here. This is an area where many times it does it, but right now the market does look relatively weak. But again, if we do end up doing some kind of 1 minute pushes here, 1 minute longs, anyways, it's a very common spot that the market attempts those things. And if it's successful, many times it will go back to, like in this case, this area. So it just depends. There you go. So there's kind of that 1 minute micro push or pop, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, like a little Bob Ross, a little VWAP here, little VWAP there, little bouncy here. Yes. The anchor VWAP is on the sidebar. Oh. Yeah, I mean, I don't really think Brandon. Yeah, I think he had to undergo brain surgery. Unfortunately, yeah. So I'm still kind of waiting to hear more. But I guess the doctors may have found some tumors in the brain. I think more than one. So they went in for an emergency surgery. And like over the past couple of years, we've been working. After his original cancer surgery, he was kind of having some speech impediment, and he thought it was like the radiation and chemo that maybe did something to him. Well, no, it was brain tumors that were affecting his speech and some of his eyesight. He started, wearing glasses a little more, was having trouble seeing, and I don't know how it came to, but ultimately they found he had some tumors there. So unfortunately, he's in the hospital, and he had to undergo brain surgery, and that is the last I heard. So I'm still waiting, and so. Just keep them in your prayers, I guess, and that's all we can do. So yeah, it's a lot going on right now, unfortunately. Excuse me. So as you can see there, we've taken out the 1 minute volume weighted average price for the day off that low. So effectively stopping out a lot of people there. Again, this is, this is what we run into every once in a while, using this tactic, which is you kind of see shelf dives around it because it's a key volume trend, right? It's like, it's one of those situations where it's either got to hold above or you can stop a lot of people out there. So, either way, interesting. Yeah, I mean, I don't have a whole lot more to say here. We've already we've already sold off down to previous day's lows, ran the market all the way back to golden pocket and the 50 SMA with a nice rejection. So kind of the name of the game right now is we are going to kind of stay bearish the market on the intraday as it relates to this top, because not only is this just a top, this is a 50 SMA rejection so far. So that tells us that on the 30 minute, if we were to zoom out a little bit, right, on the 30 minute, we know that the market can transition positive once above. So either way, market is downsided, right? This whole thing is just a back test to the 50 SMA. All of this, all the price action between going down here, I mean, all in all, it's just a back test to that 30-minute 50 SMA, at which point we had top tick resistance and rolled it down. So the market is still in a neutral to bearish state. And since we rejected the 50 SMA up here, we then take volume weighted average prices and we anchor it to that high. We do that in general, but it has more meaning today off this high because it's a 50 SMA rejection. So it's a simple moving average calculation and we've kept the market down and blah, 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 blah. So, anyone participating short from this high down and all of this down, I would say it's debatable how you view it, but I would say their volume weighted average price is here. So that becomes a counter trend back test level and then also potential resistance level to roll the market down, right? Which means, when we think about this, it's do we know for sure that the market's going to stay bearish and then continue trading bearish indefinitely for the moment? Maybe, maybe not. But if we're going to do it and we're not going to be going back up to the high of day, then we should not be going above those volume weighted average prices, right? That's what I mean. So the only way we go back to the high of day is by stopping out all of the market participating short from the 50 SMA, right? All of this down, they have to get stopped to create that long and that pressure up to then go back to the high of day. Not that it can't happen, not that it doesn't happen, not that it won't do it like that in the future. It's just in general, that's the case, and that level's like right there, right? So as long as we're maintaining markets below that, we will not see high of day. So this now makes it a potential back test level and then resistance level, whether it be now or later in 2.5 hours when the market's down further or whatever, right? So, the danger that's also the thing is we know at some point we're going to test that level, which at times it can be used well for a counter trade. But the danger is if you don't retrace now to this level and you continue going down, then it's kind of you just lose anyways, right? So that's the danger, is that, there's no guarantee that you're going to retrace now to that level, but you do know it's going to happen, right? So it's a matter of when, not if sort of thing. So, there will be times where I do look to go long back to that level if I feel comfortable. Right now, I don't think it makes sense. I don't think it's, and I could be proven wrong, right? So there's a difference between what you think and what ends up happening, right? We still, right now we're on a 5 minute. Do we develop a higher low? If we look at the 1 minute, we're probably holding 1 minute volume weighted average prices off the low. So this could be the 1 minute trying to develop that 1 minute micro higher low. I still don't trust it though, personally, but we'll see. And yeah, sorry for not getting to that L, but it looked like Corey had gotten to it. But yeah, so it's just, yeah, it's in the trading view somewhere. And again, once you kind of get the hang of using it, it's super duper simple. Or it's very, very, very easy. All right, we're starting to squeeze that move up. This might be where we try to go get these VWAPs now. All right, there's the market. Well, you know what I mean. It's pushing up, whatever. So it didn't work perfect, but you can kind of see how we try to do that little 1 minute higher low here. Now push market back to top down volume weighted average prices on the 1 minute. So this becomes an area where either we end up creating a lower high or the shorts end up getting taken out at some. Well, I don't want to be too linear with it because sometimes it doesn't exactly happen like that. But yeah, this is going to be arguably a potential little lower high level. And when I say that, it's like, again, it depends. Like I said, the market has been long-sided since here. It's a pullback, bounce. If you hold below that, we might roll it. So that's how I kind of read this market. There might. I think there's a way in. It's somewhere in that study I sent you. I think you have to like go. Yeah, it's in there. There's a way to anchor to the low or maybe the high or something like that. But again, I'm not. Again, like I said, I don't really use the Thinkorswim one. I really use TradingView. So. All right, there's the retrace back to the top down 1 minute. Okay. Let's see. I wonder if they find any resistance here, and if not, we might see a little bit of a squeeze to the 5 minute. That is. There's the squeeze to the 5 minute. So pretty much what we just kind of saw is just kind of like some 1 minute volume weighted average price resets, also up into the 5 minute top down volume weighted average price. So pretty much this little box there. This is first tag, into it. Again, this is kind of like the danger zone for shorts, and at times dangers for longs. Let's see. Right now, 1 minute momentum's positive. I guess that doesn't really mean anything. 5 minute momentum is positive, so that means more. That's the other thing too is momentum for me can always be a little tricky to read because it can change so quickly at times. But right now you'd be betting against the 5 minute momentum of the market. You'd be betting against the 1 minute to go short. 1 minute max really not strong. 15's positive, so you'd be going against the 15. You'd also starting to be going against the 30, so the 30-minute MAC is just now starting positive. Guess that doesn't really mean anything. Oh gosh. Oh boy. Still holding some, it's just holding right now. Hesitation, slight resistance right into the top downs. The VIX also, let me just double check. I was going to say the volatility index actually shied its 1 hour trend. So I'm wondering if the VIX is going to end up going for a true tag of $20.34. If so, we would end up taking the market back up long. And maybe even going back up to 685. It's just depend. I have no idea though yet. Again, there's our resistance. Basically back down to the 1 minute volume weighted average price of the previous low bounce. So if this doesn't just slice right through, this ends up being like a little bit of a scalp pop. Let's see. Yeah, so again, that's currently like the 1 minute support. And if it ends up holding and not breaking down right away, and they do recycle the 1 minutes, then you'll see a little bit of a counter push to here, high, to like right wherever that is. I don't even know. Like 683, 65s. And then there's your counter long, well, not counter long, but just long back two. Again, this is how we're working price action in between the market. So that one will be done. And if the VIX starts breaking down like 2079 here, we might start to break the SPY up and out of this top. If we do, we'll be targeting up to about there. Yeah, so we might be looking up as high as like 684.49. Again, it's just kind of dependent on whether or not the market on the VIX is going to go for a back test towards lows, because it didn't really back test its 1 hour trend. It kind of shied it. So it might still be willing to try to go down all the way to the price of 2030. As a result, if we do the true algo test on the VIX down to 2050s or so, or sorry, 2030s, that might be what ends up taking this back up here. We'll see. I might see SPY push here about 684.47, give or take. Just depends. Just depends. $684.50s. You gonna do it? You gonna do it or what? You gonna do it? $684.50. Whoa, the crowd goes crazy. Wahoo! Yippee! Now the question becomes, do we go back to the 50 SMA or not? Well, that was nice. Nice little long back up. The market's juicing. The VIX is rolling. Maybe back down to the 2029s. Or wait, that's where it's at right now. Wait. Yeah, 20, I don't know, doesn't matter. Somewhere down. Somewhere down. Again, market's right back towards that 50 SMA. So pretty much longs are kind of stalled out for the moment, if you ask me. Unless we're obviously getting over that 50 SMA and holding, etc. Relatively the same. Do 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 do. Do. Sorry guys, I don't have a whole lot to say for the moment. Just waiting to see if the market breaks out the 50 SMA. Also, there goes the volatility index all the way down to, as we had mentioned, about $20.28. That's the 1 hour trend level. The next level will be pretty much where we're at right now, which is the 30-minute volatility, 30-minute 50 SMA. So the VIX is now at very interesting spots. If the VIX ends up holding the 50 SMA here, we will top the market. We need the VIX to break down for the market to continue its long. I don't know for sure which one is going to happen, but it's hard to be long bias on this this high right now. Granted, all of the momentum in the MACDs are very favorable to the upside, so it's like I don't really know if it's going to be a good short spot either, because momentum strong on the 1 minute, momentum strong on 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. The 15 minute, the 30 minute, or whatever. So don't really have any negative momentum. So the market would just basically have to top, or the market internals would just have to stop going up, which, you know, I'm not willing to, you know, be the one to try to do that. Volatility market has broken down its 30-minute 50 SMA, but, well, I mean, it's true. So yeah, volatility is kind of leaving, or sorry, a fear is getting removed from the market a little bit. So either the VIX is going to just have to break down and keep going and the market squeezes out, or the VIX will slow down and it will go for a back test to $20.15 to $20.28, and that pullback to back test can be used to top the market temporarily. So just an FYI, no reason to be selling the market right now short or anything. Like, don't try to short the top or anything like that. We just got a signal the VIX is breaking down, so fears coming out of the market. The only way this tops is if the VIX goes for a back test of its breakdown. So people are getting, you know, the reason this long move is still going up, even though it looks stretched, is because we are breaking the VIX down and we're broken SMA calculations. So in the immediate, algorithms are optimistic, so they press it up. But yeah, we could arguably be looking at least some pullback here to like right there. That's going to be, if the VIX goes for a back test for the breakdown, we'll see, and legitimately then we will see, you know, markets try to kind of trickle down towards like there. Just depends. It's all up, in my opinion, it's up to the VIX, and right now it's breaking down and it's not back testing for the moment. So just an FYI. Beautiful long move so far. Also, this $19.82 spot, if the VIX is like actually going to go for a back test, this is arguably where it's going to look to support. So I do think the VIX, if we are going to do a back test, we're in the area for the VIX to start getting some support. And sorry, this is going to be down to like right here. That's like best case. Excuse me, sorry. So, yeah, just that. Just markets just, like I said, that's always kind of the danger. Like I said, like I wouldn't mind, the market to pull back, but it's all dependent on the VIX. The VIX just broke down, so it's like for the market to pull back, I mean, you're basically trying to top the market while the VIX is saying go long the market, right? So for this to work, we need the VIX to get support and go for its back test. And if it doesn't do that, then obviously the market will keep pressing up. But so that's what I'm just focused on, is if we get support here on the VIX around 1982 and then run a back test towards like $20.20 on the VIX. If so, we should see a market slow down. And we're slowly topping the market here. When I say topping, it's not what I call it topping. It's all dependent on the VIX, and the VIX is moving really slow. But yeah, let me show you what I'm talking about though with the volatility index. So we're going to start here. Go to the 30-minute. So this is what I was talking about with the volatility index. So we kind of ramped the market up long. We took the volatility index back down past its 30-minute 50 SMA. We dropped it down to it's past its 1 hour 50 SMA. Now the volatility index is at about 19 something and some change, right? So we've broken down without a back test. So if we do go for an intraday back test, arguably that's where we're going to be looking to pull the markets back down off this long move. I don't know if it's going to work or not. If there is no back test, then markets aren't going to have nice pullback. So that's kind of something I'm focused on, is if we do a back test on that 30-minute 1 hour, like we're seeing, kind of pulling the market down and using this basically where we're at, this low a day for support on the VIX. So right there would be one of my support levels on the VIX to try to go for the back test, and as a result, we should be able to take the market down. There's our market going down. So we back tested the first VWAP that I would have used there, and that's going to be, it's basically a breakout VWAP. And then the next VWAPs down, along with some fib stuff, would be down to the price of 685.19, give or take. So, yep. Alrighty. All righty. All right, I will be right back. I'm gonna go get some coffee. In the meantime, oh no. Oh, Snikes. Oh, okay, I'll be back in a sec. Okay, we are back here, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and squirrels. How's our friend DIVO doing? Actually slightly underperforming. VXUS still near all-time high there. Silver still up. Gold back to 482. That's good for the long-term portfolio. Bitcoin. Oh, that's right. Excuse me. Oh, snap. Snap. Oh, Nike's Nike. Shoot. Well, I mean, it's okay. Yeah, I kind of wanted to do a bounce on Bitcoin down at this weekly volume weighted average price. It hasn't hit it. It shied it and bounced away, so it kind of elevated risk there. I don't know. If it comes back down and tests, maybe I would. But I forgot to watch that and kind of missed it. Yeah, I was looking for a bounce at the 62,379 mark, so obviously we've come down, bounce, and I was looking for it right about there. So I would have been willing to probably start it there on that test, but whatever. Oh, whoa, get out of there. We don't want that. Still no test of these guys. Sorry, I was just looking at a couple other things. The volatility index is still holding. When I say still hold, okay, I was gonna say the volatility index still holding down where we need it to, or still holding where we would need it to for a bounce, which then again, like we were saying, would kind of help work the market back down some. So we're kind of seeing a little bit of a double top there. We're starting to see some positive 1 minute stuff on the VIX. 5 minutes still pretty negative. So maybe not quite ready to get juiced up there. So right, yeah, I mean you can kind of see we're still holding the volume weighted average price here on the SPY. Oh, excuse me. So, even if we were to take the market from, just in general back down to here, we would have to take out the volume weighted average price, obviously, there. And the VIX actually has to go for a back test, which it's holding support. It's just not truly bouncing. Do 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 do. Yeah, we gotta double check one more thing. I see. Missed that one. Wasn't even thinking about it. Yeah, let's see, Amazon. Yep, Amazon held at 50 SMA, took the upside. Netflix is currently rejecting its SMA. I did see that Nvidia took the upside there, obviously with the market bouncing and rallying. Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, so nonetheless, we're coming down into pretty much the one, kind of with the VIX bouncing a little bit. Market's starting to roll, but right now we're kind of just hanging out on the 1 minute 50 SMA and volume weighted average price. So, that's pretty much support for now, obviously. Unless that breaks, we're not going to see this really roll down to the next kind of set of volume weighted average prices. So just keep that in mind. All right, guys, so as you can see, we're moving down into the volume weighted average prices here, maybe even down to the 685.22 fib. Again, this is kind of what we're talking about just in general about, just trying to work the volatility index back to its breakdown levels, right? So holding support, looking for support down here on the VIX and moving it back towards the previous breakdown level would allow us to start reducing the price of the S&P 500 off of its highs. So until the market back tests here, we still run the risk of the market coming down more. The short in this roll might not be done or complete just yet. When I say might not, I mean it. I don't think it is. We'll see, though. Time will tell, as it always does. What time are we at? 10:55. Cool. God, could arguably be seeing this drop out to about right there, where that arrow is pointed. Nice little droppy poo down to Targito. Is it this one or is it? No, regular trading hours, 30-minute. 50's down a little bit there. Yeah, obviously the counter trend target / pullback's kind of complete right there. Obviously coming down into that 685.20, some of those volume weighted average prices. Arguably we could see this market, 1 second, low, high, excuse me. I mean, could bounce as high as there. We'll see. Let me clean up some of this. The VIX arguably has gotten close to its target. It might still have a little more room to go to the upside, but nonetheless. Good to see you, Trin. Yes. And yeah, Lavo or L. Yep, yeah, it was related to the market. At one point, where for some reason we couldn't get any YouTube streams to work, it just whenever we try to stream, it would just get pretty much my internet would get like knocked offline. So then, anyways, the channel ended up kind of losing its steam, and then, long story short, I'm like, one day I decided to create this one. So yep, yeah, that's that. So right now we still got, decent momentum down on the market. At this rate, we're probably going down maybe even to the 50 SMA here at 684.98. The volatility index is almost done doing its back test, right? So it's got a little bit more room to go up, and arguably, if the back test results in a little bit of resistance, we then might be ready to see this sell-off slow down and start to bounce back up a little bit. We still cover some penny stocks here on this channel. I didn't really today, but we still go over pretty much all that stuff too, to a degree. But yep. All right, essentially there's our bounce kind of working itself up. Yeah, we did have I should keep that one on for the moment. Low, so that's going to be the back test of the previous. So yeah, there would be arguably T1 of that bounce hit, I guess you could say. Now remember, we were talking about too with the volatility index, looking for it to back test to about the yellow, right? So this would be the breakdown, and that would be a back test. So starting to get some resistance. So as the market gets resistance there, we're working the bounce up. You see that? You see how we've taken the VIX from its breakdown to its back test, worked resistance, use that to pull the market back, now go long up, etc. Job well done, folks. Job well done. I don't think YouTube is ready for my stock market streams. I really don't think they are. I really don't think. I just don't think YouTube is ready for this sort of precision, if you will. I've noticed, as we've streamed a little bit here, I have noticed that those of you that tune in and watch, you tend to stay for a long time with a very high retention rate. So I do appreciate you guys coming, hanging out for those extended periods of time and watching. As the channel grows, hopefully, or whatnot, there could be financial gain in it for myself, and really if that does end up happening at some point, regardless, That's really all thanks to you. So, nonetheless, it's all about, hopefully spreading some good knowledge and really just enjoying our time with the market. I think it's probably one of the most fascinating things for me, because like I said, my brain just, it needs a lot of dopamine, if you will. It just, my brain really thrives when it's given sort of this repetitive challenge to work through. My brain loves it. It's a really good exercise, if you will. So, and the reason I'm just saying there's few things that really get my like analytical brain thinking. For me, it's intriguing in that regard. So anyways, yeah, thanks. Don't forget about the originals. Oh no, we won't. No. And that's, I've been kind of thinking too. I feel like I should almost be like I'm gonna get rid of our bigger Discord. It's just kind of irrelevant. So I am gonna be probably getting rid of that soon and just kind of trying to simplify some things. But I was thinking about just creating like a small Discord for the OGs. I don't know how I would really. Yeah, but yeah, I was considering just creating like just a simple Discord for the OGs. But I really, for the moment, I really don't have intentions of wanting to go back and manage a chat room. I've done that for a long time. A little burnt out of that, to be honest. So can't say it would always be the case, but I just for the moment, I'm just kind of enjoying where I'm at in life. No intentions of trying to manage a chat room of just tons of people for the time being. Can't say that's always going to be the case, but yeah, man, I'm just enjoying my golf, enjoying my YouTube streams, hanging with the wife, loving the dog, working on my rental properties, and then just keeping up with my investments and all of my portfolios, throughout the morning, and chilling with you guys. It's a lot of fun. I enjoy it. And playing golf. That's another thing too. Playing golf. Though I gotta say, I'm starting to have some back issues, and I think it's actually from playing golf. I never used to have them, but obviously, I guess if you play golf all the darn time, you're probably gonna start having some pain, from swinging. But it's over the past like 5-6 years, I got pretty good at golf and learned to get my swing speed up, and as a result, to get that fast of a swing speed when you start getting into like the tour speed, 175s, 180s, etc., it's so much torque on your back, and after doing that for 6-7 years straight, it's starting to kind of catch up, you could say. So let's hope by the grace of God my back doesn't give out, because I really do love playing golf. So might be time just to slow the swing down a little bit, But I just discovered you. Yeah. But yeah, I had a YouTube channel that started back in like 2017, and so on and so forth. So we've been, and many of the people actually in this little chat here have been kicking it together and watching markets on and off in some fashion or another, and for 10, 12 years together or whatever. So, yeah. But seriously, I don't really know. Sometimes I do ask myself, am I just lucky at analysis? Because I used to dream of the days where I could say, hey, that's a breakdown. The market's probably going to go to here, and then it goes to there, and we'll look for resistance and down, and So it's just, I hope I'm not lucky, but I don't think I am. But yeah, that's what I was saying, is that's pretty cool stuff. So, any hoosers. Yeah, as far as the market goes, right now the volatility index has broken down. It's below its 30-minute, it's below its 1 hour. It hasn't recovered So therefore, we're not looking at, think about it, right? Let's bring this down, and I'm going to shrink this a little bit so we can operate like two charts here simultaneously, something like this. So we're like right here on the market, we were only looking for a pullback, a short-term pullback trading scenario. And that's because, well, not only, but one of the big reasons was we know that the VIX broke down its some SMA calculations here, some algo levels, if you will, and it hadn't back tested, right? And we know the market can only do two things, right? It can only go up or down, all right? Anybody who tells you it can trade sideways, I mean, I guess it can trade sideways, but it's still going up and down, you know. So, markets can only go up, they can only go down. If they break out a level, they have to break out and continue going, and then eventually lose steam and backtest at some later point. Or they will break down a level and backtest sooner rather than later, right? So what we saw today on the VIX was a 30-minute breakdown and a sooner rather than later backtest. And as a result, the inverse relationship between the two markets helps us create a pullback trading scenario on the S&P 500. And we know that unless the volatility index is recovering and breaking out the price of 2023 or so, then it's not going back into an uptrend. So then we wouldn't look to continuously roll this market down. Right? So, markets are back to positive. The VIX is back to negative. Let me zoom out a little bit because I've been very zoomed in. Let me add, I already know it's going back and forth, but we are still in a consolidation market. So just because we're positive the SMA right now, my mind does not go towards like mega swing long. Like, you know, it's just we're in a choppy market, and one of the ways I like to dictate that is not by simply just looking at the price of the market, which you can do. Oh, well, I was going to do it. Well, yeah, I guess I can just take this off real quick. I'm cheap. I don't want to pay for TradingView's thing to give me two indicators. So, you know, I can use Thinkorswim and get whatever the hell I want for free, you know. But anyways, simple moving average. So, and many of you guys in this chat will know this. Some may not. Again, this is a simple, wait, let me change the color of that. I can barely see its style. Blue. So just know we're still like long bias the market in general because we are positive and not negative. All right, I'm showing you the transition in real time right now. You saw the VIX break down. You saw it backtest. You're seeing the resistance, right? You are seeing the SPX, or you're seeing the S&P 500 do what? Get above its 50 SMA today. You saw the back test. You saw us go long to back test it. You've seen the breakout. You've seen volatility and fear break down. You've seen fear get removed from the market. You're seeing the market top but not go through a serious pullback, etc. You're seeing this transition right now in real time. So anyways, market's positive. I was going somewhere at that, but then I kind of lost my train of thought. So, anyways, we're back to a long bias market now, obviously. So, as I was saying, there we go. Now I got my train of thought. This is a chop market. You could call this a consolidation market if you want, but it's still going back and forth, right? Someone would call this a sideways market. I mean, it is trading sideways, but still going up and down, right? And one of the ways that I like to dictate choppy markets, which you can see we've been in a choppy market for a long time, is anytime I'm pretty much getting this, which is happening very, very common, right? you get the cross of the 10 below the 50 here, cross of the 10 below above 50, cross, 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 which happens from choppiness, right? We are not getting very sufficient or long-lasting signals in trades over the 50 SMA in any direction. Like this one was good, that was down, that was pretty big, right? That one was decent, this one was decent, but recently what are we seeing? We're getting breakouts, right? Then cross back under, cross back over, cross back under, etc. So those are what I call short-term SMA crosses in short periods of time. The only way that can even happen is the market has to go up and down, right? So whenever I see two, right? So if I saw this one and then this one about a day later, the only way that can happen is this long fails and goes back down and under. At that point, I could already say markets might be a little confused because they were unwilling to trust this breakout, right? So much so that the market is down, and now it's breaking down and crossing again. So clearly people are indecisive, right? So at that point, I already think we're in sort of this back and forth, somewhat more less trending market, right? So from here, the tactic always is the same. We map off the high and the low points at which kind of that's starting to happen in this choppiness, which it's arguably low to high would be this. So for me, I wouldn't consider there to be any sort of trending market until we're outside of that high and low because of the amount of back and forth crossing we're getting. We're creating this pull up, pull down, pull up, pull down, pull up, pull down, right? So until this is willing to give in, which to me is determined, it's either this low or this low, but I like to make it wide, so I'm just going to use this guy and this guy. So I would read it like this, that the market is in, kind of a sideways market, choppy, back and forth. And once we get above or below these guys, that's where we would be more likely to see trend out or trend down. And in the meantime, we will just keep flipping in the short term, long up or short down based on the short-term market maker trend, right? And that's all we're going to do until we pick direction out, and then maybe we'll get more of like a swing push in one direction or the other, right? You know what? That's actually probably a good idea. I think what I really need is some... Actually, I do have a pretty strong core. But what I think I need is I need more lower back strength, probably a little bit more leg exercise, probably lacking in that department a bit. So I think I need some lower body, probably more so than core, probably lower back, and yeah, definitely just back, and I think lower body would probably be good for me. So, you know, I'm going to get back to actually looking at the market here for a second or two. I'm going to clean some of this stuff up. It's kind of relatively old on the chart. Don't particularly need it too much. All right, well, I think that was a good day for our stream. I'm gonna let you guys go for the day. Appreciate y'all tuning in. One of these days I'm gonna be gone. I have to meet an inspector at a property on, I think, Thursday. So probably won't definitely will not be online Thursday. Should be on Friday, and then like I said, all of next week I will I'm not gonna be online. It's just a guarantee. I might post some YouTube shorts or whatever, but aside from that, I probably won't be online. So nonetheless, yeah, you guys take care. Have a great evening, and I'll catch you tomorrow. Right? Yeah, catch you tomorrow.